Hello, hello, hello. Quick check-in with chapter one or tracks 1 to 3 of Galore, a 2009 novel by Newfoundland writer Michael Crummey, set in 18th century Newfoundland. It's set in Paradise Deep, a remote fishing village where a whale washes up on the shore, and they're kind of hacking it apart for food. This is a really subsistent level community that like really needs the food, and things haven't been going so well, but they're never going that well. And they're chopping it open when suddenly a hand comes out of the thing, a human hand, and they're like, holy fuck. And it's a body, a completely white, kind of pale white body, which um holy shit, is a man, and a man who is actually still alive, and stinks to high heaven. And, they're pretty freaked out by this. Most of them want to just basically kind of leave it to die, leave him to die. Um, um, the widow divine, kind of the old wise woman who people are kind of semi freaked by, but also basically cares for everybody, burrs, deaths, stuff like that. It's like, no, we're gonna take care of it. And it's like, oh, it's a demon. It's like, well, you think they'd give him a bit more to work with than that because he's got a small dick. So you get the humor in this book right off the bat. Um, and they won't have it in the house, but they pull him to a shed, and he kind of comes back to life. He stinks to hell. They try and wash him, but it won't come off. He just smells like rotten fish guts, and basically, if you're in closed space with him, your eyes start watering. Um, the men, the fishing really does dry up, and they think he's a Judah, something that's a Jonas or something like that, something that's bad luck. And the men get drunk, and they come to like get him with like a noose and stuff like that. And it's like, nah, he's gone. And he apparently is gone because they do a search, kind of a drunken search, and they kind of walk off. It's funny when they get there. It's like, we'd like to see him, please. It's like kind of a very polite mob. There's a voice in the back saying this to Divine, and she kind of half laughs at them. And then the next day, the men are going out for fishing, and they're pulling away from the dock, and they realize, hey, wait a minute, the smell of fish guts is still strong here, and they pull off a thing, and there he is. There's the guy who, like, should we toss him overboard, or, it's like, do you want to pull for a while? Tired rowing you. And he actually does. He takes the thing and he rows out, and he starts jigging, and he puts a line in, and suddenly he's pulling in squid, and he's pulling them in like end over end, like they're attached to each other, and it's an unending line. And there's other people have realized he's on the boat, and they've been following, and they just continue this line until they filled up all the boats with squid. So suddenly he goes from being a Judas, a kind of a curse, to being the good luck charm for the thing, and they're rather flush in fish. So we have that, still sleeping out in the shed there with his only companion now, a dog with short little stunted beagle legs. Uh, you know, that's his only companion, and so he stays with them. The with the elder divine, well, kind of the outline shed. Mary, Mary, Mary Divine, Mary Trevane, Mary Trevane, who seems to have gotten. They have kind of a gathering because like they are a bit flush, and they have a gathering, and this Absalom guy who is the grandson of King Me, kind of the self-appointed patriarch of the thing, has developed a crush on her. Except he doesn't know that he's actually her cousin, because I guess he's been having a feud with the Widow Divine for the Kingme's been having a feud with them for years, and so they're not exactly they're not acknowledging their relation, because they're kind of in two different communities. I guess down the coast there's Paradise, the whatever said the Paradise, and then there's the Gulch, and but it turns out he's the cousin. And this finally does come to light with the mummers, because it is so flush. The mummers are coming around, and it gives them kind of, they're all dressed up in things, and there's the king, and then there's a horse, with kind of clacking jaws, and they ask questions. It's like, oh, is Mary in love with someone? It's like, yes, clack, one, or clack, clack, or no, clack is one. And it's like, oh, is it someone here? Is it someone there? And they kind of narrow it down. It's like, oh, it's a rich Englishman Protestant in the next village over. And it's like, fuck, he doesn't want to hear about it. And then they go to Kingme's, who doesn't want to let them in, and indeed never gets up. But Absalom goes down and lets them in, and they reveal to him, oh, you don't realize that you have two cousins in the next thing, the Elder Divine. So it's Lazarus, which is the little baby who lives and has a coffin for a crib, which wakes up in every day with a big smile on his face. But they were really expecting he was going to fade and die, but he never did. He actually lived, and so now his coffin is his crib. And Mary Tavane, which really hammers it home to Absalom, who quickly leaves on a ship out and doesn't come back for 5 years. And that's how we kind of leave it there. And we have a scene of Mary Trevane going with kind of, she wants to get a note read for her, and it's a love letter from Absalom, but she can't read it, so she has to take it to a thing. And to do that, she wants to take the dog, but the dog won't. Who is loves probably because he smells so horrible to Judah, who doesn't talk, and so Judah and the dog accompany her, and they read out the letter, and it's like, who's in love with you? It's like, are you in love? And when they figure out it's Absalom, it's like, he's your cousin. Are you in love with him? And she kind of looks at Judah, and she sees that he's watching. It's like, no. And so Judah kind of walks away, and she has to keep up with him, and then sinks down in the snow, and Judah picks her up and carries her back. And then we get the whole thing with the mummers. So yeah, it's a good thing. We also have a really crappy priest who is actually the king in this thing, exposing the stuff, and he's who is he fucking? He's fucking somebody's wife while the guy is like kind of having a fever dream. I'm a little less clear on that relationship there, but it's obviously a complicated relationship where there seems to be definitely congress happening between the priest and a married woman, while the husband's just off in the next thing, thumping around with stuff. So who the hell knows what's going on there? But yes, this is a good thing to kind of follow up with after The Inconvenient Indian, which really, really depressed me. Was really brutal. This is, I think that he talks about, like, this is a poverty-stricken, austere land, which is, probably the best place for him and Christianity of the priest. But it's also very kind of it's lively and it's humorous, and these are people who are getting by, and giving each other hell, but also kind of supporting each other at the same time in a way. So that is good, because holy shit, it's Newfoundland in the 18th century, and it's poverty-stricken and austere and really fucking tough. And we have this kind of weird albino character of Jonah, who's Judah, like the place, Judah, like the place, who is popped out of a whale and is a white guy, white albino kind of Moby Dick guy popping out of a whale. Um, and we've got the um, biblical guy who gets swallowed by the Jonah and the whale, who gets swallowed by the whale and then gets spat up again. And it's something about you know getting taught a lesson by God. I'll have to look that particular biblical story up just to get the particulars. But yeah, enjoying this so far. All right, more videos later.